as you guys know, making history matters to us. And so, with 4 games to go in the regular season, we recognize the position that we put ourselves in. We also recognize that the next 4 games against all ranked opponents, 2 at home and 2 on the road, are going to be, challenging, and each one is going to play a unique challenge. And so, just like we've been doing all season long, we'll take them 1 game at a time. I thought one of our best efforts all year long was at Ole Miss, and I didn't realize how well we had played until 2 things really happened. One, Coach Beard talked about it after the game. He said, "Boy, those guys really played well, made shots," and based on his evaluation of how we were playing going in, and then how we played in that game, he was right. I didn't necessarily feel it at the time. I thought we would stand some great runs and answers for them, but we shot it exceptionally well. We played exceptionally well. I thought both teams played well. Our biggest challenge is we sent them to the foul line 35 times, which is, way too much. So we're going to have to defend, without fouling. And, it's 2 very, very veteran ball clubs. Ole Miss has got one of the best wins in the country this year, as do we. And that is, with a victory at Alabama, which is obviously one of the best teams in the country and a very tough place to get out of there with a win. So Ole Miss has played well on the road. And there's a lot, obviously a tremendous amount on the line for both clubs.
Bruce, Ole Miss obviously leads the country in turnover percentage on offense. You guys have been in the top 5 pretty much all year. I wanted to ask, what do you think has been the big difference for y'all this season, taking care of the ball and valuing possessions like you always talk about?
I think we're a good offensive rebounding team, and you'd rather get up a shot before you turn over. We turned the ball over 4 times in the first 4 minutes at Ole Miss, and that was a real problem for us. They're very athletic. They extend. They switch randomly, and they're hard to get a pattern on. And so if you force things too much, and they're very, very active with their high hands and getting deflections and so on and so forth. So I think part of our low turnover number is just the fact that our guys know what they're good at, and they know, what a quality shot is and what it isn't. And but they know that I'd rather have them take a shot before I'd have them, make a tough pass or try to get in there in the traffic and do too much with the ball. But Ole Miss is number 1 in turnover margin. They don't turn it over, and they turn you over more than anybody else in the league. Them and Texas A&M are the 2 teams that will turn you over. And again, same principle. Texas A&M plays a matchup switching zone. Ole Miss plays a matchup switching man.
Bruce, will be the 2nd game in a row. You guys will be playing somebody for the 2nd time. How challenging is it to beat a team twice, and how much do you take from the first game?
Well, you take a lot from the first game because you throw your best stuff at them. If we play as well as we did in Oxford, we'll win. But that was one of our best games. So, but you learn a great deal. What you did well, what you didn't do well, and then just try to anticipate what adjustments you need to make, and then anticipate what adjustments you think that Ole Miss is going to make. Like, for example, against Georgia, I was not anticipating them coming out with a 3-2 zone. Ole Miss has zone in their package. They haven't played a lot. They very well might play it. So we'll prepare for some, just in case we see it.
Bruce, you talked after the game on Saturday about needing to improve down the stretch, just being y'all's number 1 focus as a team right now. What are some of the factors that go into this time of year continuing to improve your ball club?
Well, I think that, again, continuing to try to understand the why. I think continuing, the kids talk about locking in. In other words, like we went through Ole Miss a little bit yesterday. We're going to go through more today and then tomorrow before the game. And will the guys be locked into the scouting report? Will they be locked into the tendencies? Will they be locked in to their coverages or not? Are we going to come out of timeouts? And sometimes we come out of timeouts, we have something drawn up that we want to try to do, and we don't run it. We just went through it, and whether it's memory lapses or not being focused, I think those things are areas that we definitely could tighten up so we can get on the same page. Transition is going to be important in this game. They're outstanding transition offensive team, and we need to improve in that area for sure.
Bruce, your team has done a good job shutting down opposing guards or guarding them really well and forcing them into bad shots. But looking back at what Padula did to you guys, what was he able to do that was so successful? And do you think Denver and your guys sort of took that personally?
Yeah, I mean, Padula got 8 or 9 free throws in that game, and that's way more than he normally gets. So we got to defend him without fouling. He drove by us with either hand and did a great job. Made some tough shots. He was terrific, and he's one of the most improved players from last year at Virginia Tech to this year at Ole Miss. They've done a great job with their development, and he's done a great job with his development. And Morel's always been an Auburn killer. Matthew is somebody that we recruited out of high school and got to know him and his family, and he was just a great kid and a great player. And he's been there for 5 years. We've been doing battle, and he always plays well against Auburn.
Coach, the last matchup, you guys kind of held Brakefield scoreless in that second half. Besides, defending without fouling, what do you guys want to continue doing against Ole Miss this go round?
Well, they'll challenge your closeouts for sure, and so that's one of the things that our guys have got to be aware of what their tendencies are, and they do a great job attacking the basket and trying to draw fouls, and they do a good job. They got some guys that you have to arrive on the catch, otherwise they're going to knock down shots. So I think closing out to Ole Miss is really, really important part of the game.
The last time y'all played Ole Miss, it was probably Dylan's best game. Being able to roll 2 centers out there against a team like Moles, how much of a luxury is that? Considering also that Janai's the other center you can roll out there against him.
Yeah, I mean, against some opponents, it gives us a real advantage on the inside because you pick your poison. Put your biggest guy on Dylan and let Janai go to work on the other one, but put your biggest guy on Janai, and then Dylan's got an undersized guy that he can go hurt you on the offensive glass. So, and the fact that both Janai and Dylan can guard 1 through 5 is a real weapon for us defensively. So, it's playing those guys together is sort of a matter of picking your poison. And then when you bring Chaney Johnson off the bench, and he brings a different dimension to the offense and the defense, it helps our offense in different ways because it makes us more diversified.
Bruce, you'd be hard-pressed to find a team that switches more than Ole Miss. Talk to me about the mental adjustment your guys have to make to attack that successfully. I know you scored a lot of points at Ole Miss, but what does it take?
Well, it's hard to prepare for because you can't predict what stuff they're going to switch and what stuff they're not going to switch. You can't predict who they're going to switch off of, and coming out of timeouts and halftime, they'll change it up. So, it's easier when a team switches and you understand their patterns. It's more difficult when they're reading and reacting, and that's when you turn the ball over sometimes. That's what makes it a good defense.
After the last Ole Miss game, you kind of talked about how y'all had a pretty decisive advantage down low, and part of that led to Janai and Dylan having 8 assists without giving away a scouting report. Is that something that's replicable?
Well, Dylan got a lot of them off offensive rebounds, and Janai got a lot of them off of post touches where they kind of came and doubled when he got a bad matchup. So be interesting to see whether they decide to double Janai or play him one-on-one. And again, that would be something that we won't know till we start the game. And if he gets one-on-one coverage, he'll go down there and try to score. And if he gets double teamed, he'll kick it out. Obviously, we shot the ball really well, and we just got to be prepared for either coverage.
All right, Berg, and then Olivia with the last question.
Bruce, the other day, Henry asked after the game about you guys shooting 3-pointers at home and how the road splits have been bigger. You said you may look at it. Have you been able to kind of dig into that any, or just kind of a quirk?
I think that what I'd like to try to do would be let's take good open 3-pointers early, and then you see 1 or 2 go in, then maybe we can take some tougher ones. I thought we've taken some tough early 3-point shots where maybe some shots we could have turned down to get better shots and maybe would result in a better percentage.
Coach, you mentioned how making history is important for this program, and you guys are doing so, putting the state of Alabama on the stage. You've got some guys on your roster from the state of Alabama, and being able to represent that means a lot to them, specifically Denver and Chaney. What have you seen from them so far throughout this season, and what do they mean to this program?
Well, I think both of those guys did not start at Auburn, and I think both of those guys dreamed that Auburn could be someday possible. but not really betting on it, no guarantee. And so whether it was Denver going to prep school, and then to junior college, and then mid-major, and then getting to Auburn, or Cheney, going to Division II, because there weren't a lot of scholarships available to him, so he had to drop down a level, and as a result, he missed some NIL windows, and worked his way through to Division II, became one of the best players in Division II, and probably dreamed and hoped that maybe someday he could play, at Auburn. And they're two of our hardest workers. They're two of our best teammates. They're two of our guys that have got the most just wonderful family support. They're Auburn men. Denver will graduate this spring. Cheney graduated in December. They just check off every box. They're both men of faith and family, and they've been an absolute joy to coach. Two of the best teammates on our team, just unselfish, hardworking, care more about winning and others than they do about themselves. Thanks, Bruce. Okay, guys.